She is not for me. Where's Gemma Collins? Get that fire exit door. She's off.
Oh my god! No.
If we're talking cup of tea, she's like a cup of warm tap water, babe.
Big Taystee! Oh my god, you can't see. Hello neighbours, I'm Cherry West, the Red Berry Vinburger, and welcome back to my YouTube channel. This week on Red Berry Reviews, we're reviewing RuPaul's Drag Race UK Episode 4. And we have NORFOLKS CAMPEST drag queen, the queen of the world. It's the one and only Big Taystee.
Hello, Diva.
Oh god, you look amazing. I need this outfit.
Thank you. Custom.
Oh, we love a little bit of custom, we love that. How are you, my darling? Are you good? You look fabulous.
Fabulous, thank you. How are you, good?
I'm good. I'm living my Ariana Grande life. Last week was the Pop Icons runway, so I thought I'd give a little bit of Ariana Grande. What was your thoughts when you heard it was a comedy challenge? Were you excited?
I was very excited, but normally at the end of the episode, you can kind of get a gist of what it was, but it wasn't really given much clues. I wasn't sure what this week was coming.
I had no clue, to be honest. I was like, I'm assuming it's comedy, but like I didn't know if it was like going to be like a panel type thing or like what it was, but it was a disaster masterclass. And for some groups, it definitely was a disaster, but we'll get into that. So first thing, Ru walks in and tells them it's a disaster masterclass, and the mini challenge was like SPNK advert, which was very crazy. They had to do like boy drag. How do you think you would have done? Obviously it probably wouldn't have been hard for you because you look like a man anyway.
No, I'm joking. But how do you think you would have done like in that challenge?
I think I was done absolutely amazing, to be honest. I feel like Big Taystee is already halfway to being a trucker. So I feel like I'm serving a trucker.
Yeah.
Yes, that was a mini challenge, and Tamara Thomas won, so she got to pick the groups. Now, she picked Ginger Johnson and Michael Maruli. Now, I feel like these were very strong choices, but if I was in a group, I would have picked Kate Butch straight away. Although, they don't really know what she can do yet, so I think that's probably why Tamara didn't pick her.
Yeah, 100%. I would have gone straight with Kate Butch and probably Michael as well, to be honest.
Yeah, I agree.
No, it's probably 100% Kate Butch and Michael. That'd have been my group.
And then obviously she picked the other groups to be Naomi and... So the other groups were Naomi, Kate Butch and Dee Delicious. And then the last remaining group was Vicky Vivacious, Banksy and Caramel. And now that was actually the group that they all won a badge previously. So when I heard that, I was like, oh shit, maybe like they're actually going to be the strongest. So I was wondering how that was going to pan out. So yeah, let's just go straight into the actual Disaster Masterclass group. Whose group do you think stood out to you?
100% the winning group. Michael, Tamara, and my mind's gone blank. Ginger Johnson. Sorry, I absolutely love Ginger Johnson as well. It's very annoying.
I know you were saying earlier.
Yeah, that group 100% was a standout just because purely they all had very similar like comedic vibes, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
But I was expecting very high from the bottom group, so I was very disappointed I was gutted for the bottom group because they were potentially the high for me.
I was like, I think going into the challenge, obviously I knew Kate was going to like pull out the bag, and I was kind of shocked that Kate's group, because of like who she had in the group, it kind of like pulled her down a little bit. I feel like if it was Ginger, Michael and Kate, that would have been like the best group.
The best group in Drag Race history.
Yeah.
Comedy.
No, I agree.
Obviously, Banksy was like the host of her group along with Vicky and Caramel, and Banksy like kind of slipped up her words and stuff at the start, so I feel like that kind of like pushed her down a little bit before she like, do you know what I mean? Like I feel like it put her down right at the start.
They all had their little slips in that group. I did feel for them because you could see in all their faces how annoyed they were getting.
Yeah.
With not even each other, it was like themselves. You could see the like annoyingness, if that's even a word. They weren't horrendous. Don't get me wrong. There were a few comments that like made me chuckle. Like Banksy had a few good liners. Vicky had a couple of good liners.
If that was like a real life one, that would have been like the most like uncomfortable one in the world. So like I feel like you've got to kind of put it in the perspective of like if it actually happened in real life. So yes, the winner of that challenge was Ginger Johnson, Michael Maruli and Tamara. And I feel like this was deserved. I feel like they did have loads of punchlines. It was really good and there was a structure to it. Whereas with Kate Butch's group with Naomi and Dee Delicious, Kate, like when Naomi like fumbled or was like talking too long, Kate like brought it back up, and I feel like if they were all at the same level, it would have been like probably the winning group as well.
Kate was the glue of that group.
Oh yeah, definitely.
So moving on to the runways, this week's category was Slaycation. Now, what would you have done if you had this runway?
God, I think I'd have probably gone for, obviously being from Great Yarmouth, from a seaside town, I probably would have done something like very camp, like a UK seaside town holiday kind of look. It'd have been very similar. Like it'd have been somewhere between like a Horrors, Bag of Chips, and Joe Blacks, if you know what I mean. It'd be that kind of vibe because I'd want to stick to my UK stripes.
I would have probably done like a big ice cream. Now, obviously, it would have been better than Tia's, like, but I think I would have done like a very fierce ice cream look. Like, I think that would have been really calm. But yes, category was Slaycation, and first up to the runway was Delicious. Now, she was giving us like MILF type of vibes with like a big massive hat, ginger hair. I mean, it wasn't my favourite look that Dede's done, or like from this runway in general. It was very like mother, and it wasn't giving like, I don't know, it just wasn't giving what it should have been giving, if that makes sense. What do you think of it?
So I've loved all of Dede's looks so far, but I loved the hat, I loved the wig, and I didn't necessarily hate the look in itself, but it was the colour.
Yeah.
I think the colour of it was just very like my nan's carpet.
Yeah.
In, like 2001.
Yeah, I don't see
2001, like you was born in 2001.
Yeah, I know. I don't know that era.
If there was like a pop of like a bright pink or like a bright colour in there with that colour, maybe it'd have helped it pop. But it was just given a little bit of my nan's carpet. And my nan actually did have a carpet that colour, so I probably have a connection.
Oh my god.
But yeah, it wasn't my favourite. Next up, speaking of not being my favourite, category was Slaycation, and it was Kate Butch. Now, can we just talk about when RuPaul said there's hundreds of different shades of blonde and this one's not for you? I like nearly choked on my drink. That was like hilarious. I mean, her makeup's getting better. Obviously, she said at the start before she started filming, she shaved her eyebrows off and then completely forgot to do her makeup. So that's fine. I can understand being in that position. So her makeup's getting better, and she's clearly getting the hang of how to do it now. I think the shoes were very camp. The shoes were camp. The outfit just like horrendous, but it's very camp. Like, but it's just like, what the fuck?
Maybe if she rhinestone the absolute shit out of it, maybe she could have got away with it a little bit.
She had stuff rhinestone, but like the rhinestone just looked really like B&M vibes, very tacky. I didn't like it. It wasn't my thing. She's had better runway looks, kind of, let's say that. But moving straight on to our next queen, we have Miss Naomi Carter. Now, this was one of my favourite runways, that one she's done and two on this like runway category, this episode. I thought it was very colourful, and I really liked that she did like a ski look. I think it was very like slaycation, like vacation vibes, if that makes sense.
Very, very, very much enjoyed this look, but the only issue that I had with this look was that I wasn't sure if the whole snow on her nose was on purpose.
Oh yeah, you did mention that earlier, didn't you?
I spent the whole challenge like, oh my god, has she like not brushed the talcum powder off her nose or something?
Yeah.
Looked a little bit like she just came out of the public toilets in my hometown, to be honest, with the little white nose. But other than that, the look was amazing.
Yeah, she did look very fierce. And let's also talk about, she didn't wear a lash in the acting challenge. She said she did, but girl, I zoomed right in and there was nothing on that lid. Like, no. Moving on to our next queen category was Slaycation, and it's Tamara Thomas. Now, this look was absolutely gorgeous. Like, I don't know how she wasn't freezing, but she looks amazing. Like, I love the headpiece with like the goggles. I just really like this look, and the coat was like the perfect length as well.
100% agree. I thought normally I'm not a massive fan of just like tiny little, like a top and pants kind of.
I think you'd suit that very well.
I know, that's exactly why I love it so much. I'm just jealous that I can't get on that runway in a little bra and knickers.
Oh my god, literally.
But yes, she absolutely slayed this week. I loved it. Moving on to our next queen, we have Michael Maruli, and she's giving us a little postcards moment. I think this was a very original design and something that Michael would do, like going from her past looks. It's very hard, it's very fierce, it's very camp. And it's different. No one else did this on the runway, and I wouldn't have even thought of that. What did you think?
So I thought the look paired with the postcard was an amazing idea, and it all added in together perfectly.
Yeah.
But if you took that board off of her back, it would have been very, very basic. So
Well, that is true.
luckily the board pulled all together.
Moving on to our next queen, we have Ginger Johnson. Category was Slaycation. I didn't really get a Slaycation vacation vibe from this, and she did say she made it 2 hours before she left for Drag Race, which you can tell. And yet again, it just looks like she's pulled it out of her cupboard. I mean, obviously she hasn't if she made it, but like,
I honestly don't know how I felt about that, because it was a bit like, it gave me like Pixie Polite's you know, her makeover challenge when she did the Pixie Fairy. I don't know if maybe there was a different colour wig that maybe would have changed.
I think it genuinely was just like the fabric on the body, like the silhouette and everything. It looked really good put together, but like it just, I didn't understand. Like I didn't really know what like it was meant to be doing. Do you know what I mean? Anyway, moving on to our next queen. Not this. Moving on to our next queen, we have Vicky Vivacious, and she's giving us cowboy, cowgirl type of Wild West vibe. And I think this is very different for her and very different for this category. I think it's an original idea that I don't think would have been done if she wasn't there, obviously, because no one else did it.
I love the look. However, I do agree with what Rue said. I was waiting for her to pull off the oversized top.
Yeah,
because it was gorgeous. Don't get me wrong, but it was almost like everyone was just waiting for that. What's going to be underneath this big silhouette? Because obviously she's gorgeous and skimped in, tiny. So I was expecting it to be like, boom, I'm going to elevate this pattern even more underneath. And she kind of walked off, and I was just a bit like, no, take it off.
I loved her wig. I loved her makeup. Like I think the look was really good. I think we were just waiting on something else to happen. Yeah, but yeah, other than that, I really liked it. Moving on to our next queen, we have Miss Caramel. This look was phenomenal. This was one of my favourites this week. The stones, like the way it was stoned and it came to the runway, it was absolutely gorgeous. I really liked this one.
Yeah, no, I agree. Wig was gorgeous. Matched the outfit, very like Ice Queen of Narnia vibes.
Yeah.
Loved it.
It was a different approach that I wouldn't have expected, and I like that. Anyway, moving on to our last queen, we have Banksy. Now, this was like my favourite of the week. This was so good. I was saying this to you earlier, like everything about it, the way the coat, the sleeked back up to like my favourite by like hands down. I love it.
Yeah, no, I agree. I do have to say though, when she was walking the runway, part of me was wanting the skin to be her skin and not the leopard print, because there was like a tiny clash when you're like looking from a distance of the like bra to the skin underneath, because they're both like leopard print cheetah. But then when they were doing the critiques and you saw her makeup close up with the wig, and she had the like gorgeous like yellow contacts in, that was giving like tiger vibes, I was like, you know what, sold, love, you're fine.
Yeah, I agree. It was fierce.
Well, that is it for the runways this week. The winning group was Tamara, Michael, and Ginger Johnson. Now, I think this was definitely deserved. I think I would have made them win if I was RuPaul.
Yeah, agreed, 100%. Very funny.
Now, I feel like we should quickly talk about the Untucked moment that happened. Banksy walked out. I was like, wow. Like, I was genuinely speechless. Like, the caramel thing on stage and stuff, like it was very spicy. I was like, ooh, give us the drama, girl. What did you think of it?
I was absolutely gobsmacked when it was happening on stage, and you could tell that the edit was giving the vibe that something was going to happen, because you could see the camera pan on Banksy and then panning back to Vicky and Caramel. And then when it got to Untucked, I was just like, oh my word. When she walked out, I was like,
yeah, I know. I was like, oh my God.
Mental. But it really threw me off, because Banksy, like, I've been really getting used to her as time's gone on, and she's been given a little bit like, she's a little bit shy, and she's like now settling in. So all of a sudden she's like, boom. I was like, go on, girl. But then also Vicky's been given a really like innocent, sweet vibe, and I've been really gelling to Vicky. And then I don't know, it just gave off this like, you know, in Mean Girls when Regina and Karen like turn on Gretchen.
Yeah, it was quite shady.
Banksy was in the right. Like they two were, I think they two were in the wrong. Like you could tell they like pushed, and Caramel obviously said Untucked that they didn't, but you could tell they were trying to blame everything on her for them fucking up, which I can understand. But at the same time, like don't fucking throw them under the bus. They're in your same group, and it makes them look like cows. Do you know what I mean? And unfortunately, Naomi Carter got sent home. Oh, I actually was like really liking.
I was so sad.
No, so was I was actually really liking Naomi, and I think her personality was just phenomenal. So I am gutted, but next week is Panto. I'm literally obsessed with Panto, so I'm literally so excited.
And the fact that they've done a Panto themed musical, it is going to be insane.
Yeah. But yeah, well, unfortunately, that is it for this week's episode of Red Berry Reviews. It went so quickly.
It's been so good. Thank you so much for having me. It's been so fun.
Oh, thanks so much for joining me. And Big Taystee, where can we find you on all social media? Let's go. Plug everything. Plug your merch. Plug your everything.
Plug everything. You can find me on Facebook under Big Taystee. You can find me on Instagram, TikTok. I've got merch. I run my own little event called Global's Drag Bingo with my friend Freya Buns.
But yes, thank you so much for joining me. If you enjoyed this week's episode, make sure to like, comment down below, and subscribe to my YouTube channel. And let me know in the comments who you want to come on next week, because we have a fabulous special guest. And yeah, follow me on all social medias at Cherry West UK, and I will see you all next time. Bye bye.